When it comes to confidence as a coach, I almost never allow that to be a goal of my clients. Confidence is a result. Often when we have or don't have confidence, it's that story of like, we have confidence, I'm a good coach, I have confidence, or I'm a bad coach, I don't have confidence. And what I want to encourage you to think about is, how do I let go of the good and bad? And we'll talk about that, and move into a totally different paradigm. Now, what I use instead of confidence is audacity. Audacity is the willingness to take bold risks, to forge ahead in the face of challenge, in the face of fear, rather than confidence, which is something that is born of experience, like a comedian. Comedians are forged in fire. Every single comedian, they have gone out and they have failed. They've been humiliated. They've been laughed at, not with. And they continued to show up. They have audacity. And their audacity turned into confidence because they learned that they could handle any type of audience and still keep going. And you can learn to handle any kind of client and still keep going also. So usually when people are coaching clients, and as a coach, one of the big things is that when coaches are coaching clients who are easy, then I'm good. And when you get a client who comes along who's really difficult, you're like, and I had this for so many years. I suck, I'm terrible. And it totally can be dictated by, you might have a couple of really difficult clients and feel for like 6 months like, oh my God, I'm a shitty coach. And then you get a couple really clients you really click with and you're like, I'm awesome, I'm the best coach ever. I'm gonna start doling out advice. But what do you notice as you hear me talk about this? It's external, right? Usually we are in a fixed mindset about who we are as coaches, and we're trying to decide and measure ourselves. Consider if that's something you do. Are you ever in a point in your career saying, I'm a good coach? Or, I'm a terrible coach, I don't know if I can do this. Or more likely, both, right? Going back and forth. And this is just really common for all coaches. And this is really signifies that fixed mindset that we can sometimes fall into around a performance-based career where we perform well, people are happy with us, we get paid, we continue to have clients, we're good. Or, we're afraid we perform poorly, no one wants to work with us, we fall into, I'm bad. So we're often trying to measure, am I good or am I bad? Now this is an example of being stuck in that fixed mindset. This is a concept that comes from researcher Carol Dweck, famously wrote the book Mindset. And she talks about fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Now, as coaches, this fixed mindset is so easy to fall into when we think about who we are, that there's a client or there's experience that measures us and what we're capable of. And all too often, young coaches will get a couple of really difficult clients and then they'll stop. And I'm going to give you a really sad example. One of the students in our coaching school, he was the best student. Like, I evaluated and listened to the calls of all the different students, and he was the best. But part of how I knew he was the best is he had the hardest client, but he still passed everything. The client that he chose was so difficult, I would not have been able to work with them. He still passed everything, but he felt like he wasn't a good coach. His self-concept was really deteriorated from that, and I don't even know if he's still coaching. I've also had other students who, they got a couple of bad clients and they're like, I'm not ready for this. Don't let that be you. How do you avoid that? Now, how you can avoid that is to adopt a growth mindset. Now, the growth mindset doesn't say, I'm good or I'm bad. It asks a question. How can I get a little bit better than I was yesterday? How can I improve? How can I learn? So in the fixed mindset, we're having fixed traits or fixed qualities, and we're comparing ourselves to others. When we step into the growth mindset, we're really trying to look at, where am I today? Honestly, not like I'm good, but like, where are my weaknesses? Where are my strengths? Where do I need to develop? And it's practicing believing and knowing, and this is true, especially if you believe it, that you can notice where you are and you can improve. This is part of why it's always great to have a mentor or a coach yourself, or to submit client calls that you record and get feedback. If you're questioning your skills, then either you haven't really looked or you're not working with good feedback and you don't see a pathway to get better. So the mantra of a coach who's building and going to continue to build confidence is, I can learn. I can learn is the balm against I'm good or I'm bad. You might be good. You might be bad for some people already. But you can become an excellent coach for more and more and more people if and only if you're committed to continuing to learn and step up your skills every week, every month, every year. The best coaches, public speakers, experts, they started out not very good. But what they have in common is they believed they could improve. So they didn't just ride on what they had. They didn't ride on their qualities of good, right? What they were already good at. They thought, where am I struggling? And how can I improve? And then they worked at it, and they worked at it, and they worked at it. When I was a facilitator and a first speaker, I was terrible. I was unbelievably bad. And I did it over and over and over again. And I evaluated and I asked for feedback and I kept on doing it and I kept on getting in the arena and I had breakdowns and I would cry and stay up all night shaking, but I kept going until I became a very, very skilled facilitator who was training others. But it took time. It wasn't like I didn't have some magical good facilitator or good coaching gene. I had to work for it. And you're going to be much the same. Even if you're already coming in talented, the thing is, believing like, oh, I'm good, is only going to last as long as a difficult experience that measures you as bad. So if you want to become a good coach, the best way to do that is to let go of becoming a good coach and to seek to become a coach who's always learning. And if you like this, I've got more for you. I have 3 strategies that I teach coaches to build your client base through relationship, not through fancy marketing tactics, not through any kind of tech stuff, but through simple, achievable relational strategies that you as a coach can use as long as you're willing to talk to people. The first day is free, and it's a really simple, easy, actionable thing you can do to create new calls with potential new clients, usually that week. And then there's 2 other days with 2 more strategies that people love, and it's what I use to build my practice initially.